Michelle Visage, and you're watching Jamar84's YouTube channel. You better work.
Yes.
What's going on YouTube?
Jamar.
What's going on YouTube?
Washington.
This is boy Jamar84 here once again.
Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy Jamar84 here once again, and it is late. It's about a good 2:30 in the morning when I'm recording this. I just got back from the season 8 The Queens live tour with Bob the Drag Queen, Kim Chi, Naomi, Chi Chi, Thorgy, and it was hosted by Ginger Minge. Me and my best friend attended the show. It was great. I'm tired. That's why I still have my on. And we came back and we watched this episode of Drag Race. Now, this episode was meh. I mean, it's still progression in the drama, but overall it was kind of meh. But there's still a lot of things to talk about as per usual. So, we're going to go ahead and start this month from the beginning. So, a lot of people had issues with Alyssa's decision making on why to eliminate Ginger. Now, on one hand, I was listening to the Rupaul's Drag Race recap show to where they said that, okay, they had this agreement, but they only really followed through with it one time, technically. Because they didn't really have the agreement necessarily when the first elimination. I mean, because Roxy just kind of went by her own, gut necessarily. And it was when when Alaska eliminated Tatiana was the first time they were like, okay, well, I'm going to go by the judges' critiques and whatnot. But it still just seems like, I mean, okay, yeah, the judges' critiques, but at the same time, the judges aren't doing the elimination. The decision is ultimately based on the queen, whichever criteria they want to go by. You know what I'm saying? So, and Alyssa's reasoning was, well, Katya did really well in the first challenge for her talent with gymnastics. She won the snatch game. And has done really well on the runway last week. So she had been consistently doing well in the competition. Whereas Ginger, and even though Katya had like that, and even Katya, the reason why her part was solemn was because it was the part that was given to her. It's not like that's the part that she chose and she chose the choreography. It was, that's what she was given. She had to work with what she had. So the reason she was in the bottom didn't really have anything to do with her. Whereas Ginger, on the other hand, her talent that she sung was, people were just kind of like meh. Her runway last week was kind of meh. And even she had to be like, well, we really forgot that you were even in this competition, girl. You really have not stood out amongst the crowd the whole competition. You know what I'm saying? So, consistently you've been in the background. Now, granted, this was your shining moment, and they had to split hairs, I guess, but if we talk about going consistency and track record, Katya definitely had a better track record. And when it comes to eliminating, it all depends on how you want to look at the game. Do you want to look at the game as somebody who's been doing well and who has more to show? Or are you thinking, okay, because this person has more to show, should I eliminate them? But Alyssa's reasoning, it made sense, from a different perspective. And of course, other people like Fifi didn't necessarily agree and had a problem with it and saying let's just switch shit up. Which, I mean, I guess she did. But Alyssa was just playing the game, ultimately. She made a decision that she wanted to make. And when they tried to ask Katya how about it, thinking that she was going to take sides, she was like, look, I mean, she made whatever decision she wanted to make. I'm just glad it was mine, and I'm just happy to be here, and that's it. So Katya just shut that whole situation down. Like, let's just best to just let it go. Katya's here, deal with it. You know. So they have this challenge where they're doing these prequels, and they're both paired up together to do this acting challenge. So this is kind of like season 7 all over again. So we have Katya and Detox doing like a Thelma and Louise situation where they're both dead. And at first, Katya wasn't remembering any of her lines. She was flubbing things, and I'm just like, oh no, Katya, you were just saved. What is happening right now? Okay, what's going on? But I think eventually she did get it. One thing about it was the look was great. I couldn't even hardly tell that was Katya. To be honest, like that was how great and magnificent the transformation was. And Detox was fun. Detox was great consistently, throughout that whole rehearsal. So theirs was really, really good. Alyssa Edwards and Alaska were doing Whatever Happened to Baby JJ. And Alaska was excellent as per usual, but for some reason, Alyssa, have you never heard Camptown Races before? Because there was a part where, Alaska sings, Camptown Races sing this song, and Alyssa's part where she's supposed to say doo-dah, doo-dah, but for some reason she kept saying doo-wah, doo-wah. And I'm like, does that even sound right? How does that not even register that that's wrong? That's the crazy part, is like, how do you not know Camptown Races? Like, even if you don't know what the thing is called, you know that, I don't know. It was just like, are you doing this on purpose? That's how strange it was. I'm about to say, there's no way you don't get this reference. You know what I'm saying? But she was kind of trying to play that timid role, and she was kind of... it wasn't bad. Like, really, in these all-star challenges... Well, no, that's a lie. I was about to lie from my teeth. I was about to say that nobody's really been doing bad in the challenges, and then I remembered Roxy's Snatch Game. That was bad. But... since then, there hasn't been anybody that's really bad at the challenge. We just have to kind of pick, if there was a bottom, which ones would it be? And I guess Alyssa was on the weaker side this week. It wasn't really, awful, but in comparison, especially to Alaska, it wasn't. That wasn't it. And then Roxy Andrews and Fifi. Now, I was kind of wondering how this was going to go, because Fifi... We're just going to address this part right now, because we don't want to revisit this at the end. Fifi has gone on and on about saying how she doesn't want to sabotage. She's gone on about how she wants to redeem herself, and how badly people treated her because of, how she acted on the show. All this in the force she wants us to believe, and she said, by the end of it, I want everybody to love Fifi. Well, guess what? I don't know if it's the editing that's doing this, but there's really been little to no redemption on your behalf as far as this season goes, Fifi. I still relatively feel the same about you. I mean, it's not the same as season 4, but it's not much better either. Okay, if you've gotten better, it's not by a significant amount, basically. And so, I don't know, she just has this negative air about herself. And it's just really... Ugh. But anyways, so they're doing this rehearsal, and she's actually doing a really good job. It was Roxy who was... But then Roxy's never really done... Things like this have just never really come quite well to Roxy. She just can't really make it happen. But I guess she tried to put her best foot forward, baby. Oh, and another thing. Roxy, you keep fucking around listening to Fifi, she'll get you eliminated because... Well... I think the reason that she switched the roles was because she felt like she could do a better. Um, I forget the character's name again, but whoever the mama role was, she felt like she could do a better her than what you call it. So she was kind of saving herself. I can't necessarily blame her for that, but Roxy, I'm gonna need you to recognize these things, or Fifi's gonna get you eliminated. She already kind of persuaded you, or helped to persuade you, to change your snatch game, and that landed you in the bottom then. So I'm not sure why you keep listening to Fifi, but I'm just telling you, if you keep on doing it, pretty soon you ain't gonna have another chance not to do it. I'm just saying. So they do these runways. Okay, now the runway style was inspired, for a 2-for-1, which was inspired by Violet Chachki. Who is that? Violet Chachki's runway look from her first episode of season 7 when she had like that black and then she spun and it turned to like that plaid outfit, which was still legendary to this day. That I was blown away when I first saw that. It was so amazing. So everybody has to do like a tearaway reveal type thing. So we get Fifi. She starts up with like a little crown type deal and then splits off and spins and takes it off. Like, I think Fifi had like the most complex, the most complex change where it took a little bit more to get everything off and it still flowed nicely. It still transitioned really nicely, basically. And I was like, okay, it's not bad. It wasn't my favorite though, but it wasn't bad. Next we have Roxy Andrews, who I forget what now that I'm thinking back on it, I can't remember like what her initial outfit was. But I remember when she changed it, it was like this red cha-cha outfit that had like these really huge bell bottoms that were like connected to like her wrists. And it was very interesting. I hadn't seen anything modeled that way before, so I did kind of like it. I appreciated that one. Now Katya came down with like I guess it's a red-ish outfit, and then it just unbuttoned to turn like into a full red dress. And now, at first, when I saw that, I'm like, Katya, that wasn't enough. That was not enough. There needed to have been more. And as soon as I was thinking that, she hit the little comedy bit where she removed her bang to show the devil sign on her forehead, and then she smiled, and you could see like her teeth were all blocked, I don't even know what to call it. They were all black and, rotten. And so that was like the comedic humor and the transformation of what all she did. I was like, okay, that makes it better. That gives more of an element to it that it needed. Because I was like, oh no, that was basic. That was far too basic, Katya. But once she did that, I'm like, okay, that now it actually seems like you transformed it to something. Detox actually did a 3-parter. She had like a big black, what would it even be called? Hood. But she took that off, and then it came down to like a little dress, and then she walked down the runway, got to the beginning of it, and took that part off again to reveal just like the little jumpsuit. So Detox has trying to really go over and beyond with her runway. She is trying her damnedest. She is bringing all that she got, and I appreciate it because I'm loving it. So after Detox, we get Alyssa. Now Alyssa's was. It was good, but I'm thinking back on it, I'm like, that dress, when I think of all that, what it would take to make that come together, because it really was just an unbutton, and she just had like all these different cameras, and they were flashing, which is a really cool concept. But I'm thinking to myself, just one of those cameras is almost $1,000, or probably is $1,000, and she had multiple. Now, I know Alyssa Edwards, has money, but I'm like, that dress has a value of probably $30,000 of stuff worth on. Like, there's like 10, 15 Kodak cameras on that thing. And I know those things are not cheap. So, congratulations to her. I definitely like this outfit better than I did last week. But I think that the concept was really, really cool. I enjoyed it. And Alaska, of course, couldn't just have any regular runway. She came out in a big bag, and then when she tore off, she came dressed as Little Pound Cake from season 5, who is infamous. Infamous Little Pound Cake. And she had everything down. Like, it was truly, truly magnificent. So, they get to the actual challenges, okay? And we get Fifi and Roxy first. Fifi did great. Fifi did great more than I thought she would. She really embodied the character, and I felt like I was watching, that character. And Roxy, not so much. Roxy's just awkward to look at in acting challenges. It just never really shows or comes as natural, or it seems very forced. And then we know she's trying. But she just isn't able to convey a character through drag. It just doesn't work. And she's kind of gotten by just not being the worst when it comes to those challenges. But Roxy would have been eliminated like first or second week if she was on season 7, because that was all acting challenges. But Fifi actually did very well in the challenge. I was actually kind of surprised, but she did very well. Who's next? Katya and Detox. Now, both to me played the scene very well. Katya had a slow start in rehearsal, but during the actual full edited version, she did great. They had very natural chemistry. It felt, didn't feel forced or anything. And plus there were zombies and there was all these sort of sexual jokes, and it was just really, really good. It felt like an actual scene from an actual movie that I would actually watch. So congratulations to Detox and Katya. Y'all did an amazing job with that one. Lastly, we have Alaska and Alyssa. This too was very interesting to watch. Alaska nailed this scene. Alaska's character looked like something out of American Horror Story that you could plug in. Speaking of American Horror Story, real sidebar real quick. I want to talk about that in a separate video, but I just don't know how to deal with American Horror Story because it'd be kind of all over the place, and I just don't know, but I still watch. But anyways, back to RuPaul. She looked like she could have stepped right into American Horror Story with that character because it was creepy, it was eerie, and it just had the right amount of comedy in it. It was just really, really good. Alyssa tried to hold up that role or that character she was playing, but it just didn't come off as well as Alaska's did. And another sidebar, well, shout out to Pork Chop who made an appearance in their skit. And Big Frida, who showed up in, I think, everybody's skit except for Katya's and So I'm like, oh, well, hey, Big Frida, they decided to bring you out? All right, girl. So, where are we? Okay, so they get to these critiques of the runway and the challenge, and they finally give Fifi a good critique, and she's about to cry and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh, girl. I mean, I guess you finally got to the top, bitch. It only took you 4 episodes. Anyways, so they name Alaska and Fifi in the top 2. I kind of disagree with that judgment only because, I mean, Alaska for sure, but Fifi, I kind of felt like either Detox or Katya should have been in the top 2 instead of Fifi, as I enjoyed their performance more. But it's not like Fifi was bad. Fifi was actually really, really good in hers, but was it good enough to win? I don't think so. It kind of felt safe type judgment, but they gave Fifi and Alaska, and then they said that Katya, Detox was safe. Katya, Roxy, and Alyssa Edwards were all in the bottom 3. I'm thinking, wait a minute, how are you going to have a bottom 2 last week, but then have a bottom 3 this week? It seems to me that should have been switched around because it seems like, I kind of feel like Fifi should have been in the bottom last week, but That's why I'm like, why are you going to go from a top 2 to a top 3? I'm thinking, okay, from now on, we're only going to have bottom 2s, but to me, I didn't feel like Katya should have even been in the bottom. It's kind of like why Detox is in the bottom that, second week when she shouldn't have been. I don't feel like Katya should have been in the bottom because her runway was great. I mean, granted, it wasn't a dramatic reveal, but, it wasn't a bad outfit by any means. And then she did really, really well in the performance. So I was kind of unsure as to why their reasoning of putting Katya in the bottom again. It made sense for Roxy to be there because she really didn't, give anything really much in the challenge. The runway was cute. It was cute, but it makes sense for her to be in the bottom. And Alyssa didn't really do great on the challenge, and people kind of had stuff to say about her for the runway. So it made sense for her to be in the bottom. And when it came to the deliberation, when they tried to ask, why we should save you, and Alyssa actually did the smart thing. I said when they said, well, why you and not, the other person? At first she was saying that, well, this is my first time being in the bottom, whereas both Katya and Roxy have been in the bottom before. So this is their second time being in the bottom. But when it came to talking to Alaska, she was like, I don't really want to talk about them. I just want to talk about me. I've done X, Y, and Z, elemental P, and that's why I feel like I shouldn't get eliminated because I floundered just this one challenge. And Katya basically was like, look, I may have started off slow, but I nailed the challenge. It really didn't creak me too much on my runway, so I feel like I should stay. And not Alaska, but Roxy pretty much said that, pretty much the same thing, like I shouldn't go home for this one thing. And I kind of feel like it should be, she didn't really say it, but she was like, I feel like it should be Alyssa just, because she's saying that we're both on the bottom before, like that makes a difference, this, that, and the fourth. So they're all listed, and I'm worried because I'm thinking Fifi is going to be petty, really, especially if she wins. So I'm thinking, okay, if she wins, I feel like she's going to try to eliminate Katya just because she felt like Katya should have been eliminated before already. But they do this lip sync to Got to Be Real. And this is a very interesting lip sync, mainly because of Alaskaism and her pound cake thing. And I really didn't know how Fifi was as lip syncing. Like I remember that she lip synced against Sharon in her season, but I don't really remember much of that lip sync. But I think she did really, really good too. But Alaska just plays up the comedy, and it's usually just more entertaining to watch Alaska roll around and be crazy than to see somebody trying to really, excuse me. But yeah, I guess it's just different. So I knew Alaska was going to win, but I was just, you just really never know. But Alaska decided to send Alyssa home. And she was crying about it, and I guess she really felt the way, like I feel sad about, sending you home, this, that, and the fourth. And this is where the gag begins. Okay, so Alyssa's walked out. She said her exit speech. So of course, they give the whole revenge thing. And so they come back into the workroom. And, Fifi's talking about, I hated how, we would go down the runway and they say, oh, well, she could do anything she wants because she's Alyssa. And, it makes her feel like, well, if I were to do the same thing, they would have read me for filth and all this other stuff. And while they're talking, about these queens, it's like all of a sudden they show up on the other side of the mirror. I'm like, has this been a two-way mirror this whole time? And you see Alyssa there, still in that same camera outfit. You see Ginger, you see Tatiana, and you see Coco. And then they're all like, what the fuck? So when they show next week, because that's pretty much how this week ended, was that all their floors hit the ground when they saw eliminated queens showing up in the mirror. And I guess next week they're all coming back. It seems like all the eliminated queens get to do another runway, but at the end they have to lip sync to enter back into the competition. I believe that's how they made it seem like it's going to work. But if it's actually like a lip sync to get in, I feel like Alyssa or Coco have a good chance of getting in, because Coco really didn't get to showcase her lip syncing and slash dance talent because of that song that she was given. Ooh, I'm sorry, guys. It's so late, but I'm gonna get this video recorded. Damn it. So yeah, I think that both of those two have probably the best chance of getting back in the competition if it's based off just lip sync. Well, I guess we're gonna find out what the rest of it is next week. But I'm so excited. I'm so glad that you guys are watching. And it seems like these videos are getting more and more views than any of my RuPaul's videos have gotten before. So I'm definitely thanking all of you guys for watching and engaging in the comments. I'm definitely having a good time replying to you. If you have anything else about this episode we want to discuss, like what did you think about the elimination? Did you agree with Alyssa's thought process on why she saved Katya and eliminated Ginger? I want to know all down below. And what do you think how this whole revenge thing is going to happen out next episode? Let me know your thoughts, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
Like, share, subscribe.
Washington.